For years, I have driven up and down the street there, Jefferson Street, looking for where God was calling me. I have always known that it would be Jefferson Street. I just didn't know where. And it was right there under that great big bridge, only an exit down from LP Stadium where the Titans play football and where Nashville, Music City, the creme de la creme of country music sings. We are right there serving the poor, and I believe that the heart of God is right there with us under the Jefferson Street Bridge. First and foremost, the bridge ministry serves the homeless under the bridge and the food insecure. A lot of working poor people who have children who have dwellings but actually can't connect the dots from the dwelling to actually feeding their children. We serve people who live in cars and live along the river, the Cumberland, here in Nashville. So we serve the homeless and the poor every Tuesday night. Trucks roll in at 5:30. All the volunteers meet up under the bridge and we begin to unload the trucks. We unload 15,000 pounds of food and grocery items every Tuesday night to be distributed to the poor.
If you've ever lived with lack as a child, the joy and the happiness in seeing bags of groceries is unexplainable.
Getting there and then being in the company of these people who have nothing, how will we react to that? How will they react to it?
I give people a place to serve, people who love Jesus Christ, who love the poor, and want to get involved, just don't know where to start, like me. We started the Bridge Ministry 9 years ago in 2004, and I was going through a very tough time in my life. I was suffering from depression and decided not to take medication. And I ran into a friend of mine who was laying tile in a house that was being built that I went to see, and he told me about homeless people that lived under the bridge in Nashville, and saw that I was going through a really tough time, asked me would I like to go and serve homeless people. And I said, I think I would. Originally, I started out with only a handful of guys and a pot of jambalaya, and most of those guys didn't even know my name. They just called me Jambalaya, and I would go down every Tuesday night and just serve the chronically homeless people, like what you would see on a stereotypical television show, a homeless guy pushing a buggy. And that's what we started out with, just a handful of those guys. And I found out that I could help people in a tangible way, because as I mentioned, I was suffering from depression, and I decided not to go on medication. So I began to help people with real needs. My needs were inward, I think, more about have I had enough success in my life, and those type of things. I began to serve people and meet people who had real needs, like I'm sleeping outdoors, and if it rains tonight, I'm going to sleep wet. Or if someone doesn't help me because I'm food insecure, then I'll be eating out of a dumpster today. Those are real problems. So I got excited about serving people in a tangible way with real needs. The first time I went to the bridge, I found grateful people that were really thankful for whatever you could do. And I came back the next week and I found myself getting happy, just really happy. I found that I wasn't depressed anymore. I thought I was going down to help homeless people, but actually the homeless people helped me a lot more than I could ever help them, because I literally gave my way out of depression by serving others. Another arm of the Bridge Ministry is that there are schools close by in proximity who serve homeless and underprivileged children in Nashville. And every Friday we have volunteers who go and fill their backpacks with food enough to sustain them until they get back to school on Monday morning. Nashville has 2,049 homeless children who are registered in our public school system here in Davidson County, Nashville. So homelessness and food insecurity is a huge problem here in Nashville, Tennessee.
When Jesus was on earth, one of his concerns was that we look after and take care of people, especially those who can't take care of themselves, and the homeless certainly have a great need to be fed and clothed and sheltered. But on the way, I had some apprehension about how well we would be received or how we would fit in, but it was almost like we had been a part of the group from day one. We walked in the door, they were there to greet us, hug us, welcome us just like we were a part of the team and a part of the family. And before the day was over, we really were, and felt very, very close kinship with the whole operation. And several times Candy had called me and invited me to come up and just to see the operation, to see the warehouse, to see what they do, how they do it, and to preach for them at the bridge. And every time we would make a scheduled plan, something would interfere with that. And so we had just continually postponed it. But this was the first time we'd actually had a chance to go and be there on site. So we went up on Monday and worked with them in the warehouse there on Tuesday, wrapping presents. And then we went to the bridge that night, under the Jefferson Street Bridge itself, to feed the homeless and then to participate in the worship service there. A very exciting worship service, I might add, a great deal of enthusiasm. And the thing that impressed me the most about these homeless people was their happiness. They were all laughing and smiling and just seemed to be enjoying life when they didn't have a thing to call their own, technically. And so we got involved with Candy because we too felt like God would honor us for taking care of those who couldn't help themselves.
About this week, I marvel at how God does things. Did you ever have in your wildest imagination that that first pot of seed was going to ever materialize this quickly into such an enterprise?
I had no idea. And did you have any idea? Because you were my first donor.
Oh, well, I
Yeah, we sat down at the table and you said, I believe that we can donate monthly to you, $50 a month. And I said, really? That's great, because no one had ever done that before. So, you were a visionary too, because I didn't envision this either.
If God's in it, the money will be there. And we have found that to be the case. We have never run short of funds on anything we've attempted to do in terms of missions. I saw in those people a complete openness and an awareness and a freedom of worship that you see seldom. As I've said many times, I believe they live that statement. When you get down to nobody but you and Jesus, you find out that's enough. And I believe they have Jesus in their hearts, most of them, and they have realized that that's enough. That gets them through. A long time ago, we had to decide and define what we were and what sets us apart from other feeding programs. There are lots of great organizations that serve the poor and the homeless, and I'm very grateful, thankful for them. But the thing that sets us apart is that we preach Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ came to this earth in Luke chapter 4, and he said this, I am anointed to preach the gospel to the poor. And I believe that many people, good Christian people, fly over a mission field to
to get to a mission field. They fly over the United States to go out of the country to serve the poor. Thank God for that. But there are people in the United States of America that need Jesus Christ. And here is a very important component. The poor come to us because they know they have a need. They're hungry and they're poor. I know they have a greater need than what they realize. They need Jesus. Everybody in this world is born with an inner need. Most of us try to fill it with drugs, alcohol, money, sex, whatever it is. Try to fill it with something else. And Jesus Christ is given a clarion call. Come unto me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And I know that people need Jesus.